Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I am Bearded Dev. If you are new to the channel, please feel free to check out the other videos on there. There is lots of great content. Today we're going to be doing another SQL tutorial, and this time we're going to be looking at the delete statement. What we're going to cover is we want to remove data from a table, so we're going to be looking at how to delete data. First of all, we're going to start off by looking at alternatives to the delete statement. And then we're going to move on to firing some people. So we've got some people within our organisation who are not pulling their weight and we need to get rid of. Important to remember the where clause, and that will become apparent when we go through some examples. Let's go over to SQL Server now and go through some. So first of all, we're going to start off by running a query against our books table. So we have got Lord of the Flies. That's not a book we're going to be stocking anymore. So one of our options is to completely delete that from the table. But when deleting data, I think the question you really need to ask yourself is, do you never want to see that again? Or could it be useful in the future? Is it absolutely necessary that you need to delete that data never to be seen again? And in some cases, yes, it is. But we are going to look at some alternatives to deleting data. As part of this, I have also covered videos on inserting and updating, and an important part of this when running deletes or any statement that will change data is to run backups as well, and I have got another video on backups and restores. I'll put links to those in the description below. So let's say we're going to get rid of Lord of the Flies. Now, one of our options could be that we create an archive of this table. So we could create books_old, which is what we're going to do in a minute, and we could drop that book into there. So we've always got a history of books we've had in the past, and then we could delete it from this table. So if anything comes up in the future where we need that data, it may be that the book's re-released, it comes back into the shop, we have that ready to insert back into this table. So we're going to have a look at that now. So I'm just going to run for speed a select into. So a select into will create the new table for me, and because I've selected all columns, it will just be an exact copy of this table from our books table, and in this case Lord of the Flies has got the ID of 5. So I'm just going to run that query now, and then I've called that table books new but meant to call it books old. So there we've got it in our books new table. I'm just going to update the name of this table running sp rename. I think it's within brackets, is it? Maybe not. So books new, and we're going to change the name to books old, which makes a lot more sense. We just get a caution there, but that should have worked correctly. There we go. So we have renamed that to books old now, which makes a lot more sense to us. So again, if we just drop this select into off and run this query, so we've got our book that's going out of stock inserted into our books old table, and now we want to run a delete statement to remove it from the original table. So how we do that is the delete keyword, and from our table, in this case it's going to be the books table, and this is why it's important to remember the where clause. If I was to just run that query, I would wipe all of the data out of that table. Wouldn't want to do that with a delete statement anyway. We'd be looking at truncate for that rather than delete. So we're going to say delete from books where the ID is 5, and that should remove one row for us. And if I run the select again, that book has now been removed and it's been stored in our books old, which is an archive table for us. So another option we could have, instead of removing data or archiving it into a table, we can actually add a flag column, so we could add a true or false to see whether this is archived or not. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to alter this table, books, and I'm going to add a column bit, and we'll also add a default value of 0. I do need to name the column, that would be ideal. We call it archived. We don't need the keyword column, my bad. And we don't want the equals there either, rather brackets. Okay, there we go. So if I run a select from our books table now, I'll just add our new archived column as well. IntelliSense hasn't been refreshed, so it won't pick that up yet. So the default value is 0, but that's only when we're inserting data, so at the moment it's just been set to null. So what we could do is, if we stop in selling a book, we could update that column simply to just say 1. So let's say To Kill a Mockingbird, instead of deleting it, we're just going to update our books table. We're going to set our new archived column equals 1, where our ID equals 2. And if we have a look at that query now, we can see that's no longer a book we sell. But we have still got the data for it if we was to do it in the future, and if it was, all we need to do is run a simple update statement to say that we're now selling that again, and we haven't deleted the data and lost it. Let's have a look at something else we could do, maybe with the employees table. Let's just run a query against there. So employees, as we know, they come and go. We're going to fire some today. So what we could have on an employees table is a leave date. So we know that if that date has got a value in there and it's less than today's date, that they've left the company. I'm not sure why we would have a leave date in the future. Maybe they've handed the notice in and we've put that in there. But that's another option. We could have a date timestamp. So we search on that, and if anything doesn't have the date timestamp, or the date timestamp's greater than today, we might have a situation where we're only going to do something for a year. So we could we know that that's going to end at that time. Maybe our software licensing, for example, we've got a 1-year license on a software product. We could put that in to know that that's going to be finished at that date. If we renew it, we can keep updating that date as well. Okay, so we fell upon this table very nicely. Now it's time to fire some employees. We are going to actually delete them. And this is just another example of just talking you through the delete statement. And we're going to fire our marketing team. They're not doing very well. They're not getting us views on YouTube. So we're going to get rid of them. So that's going to be delete from our MyEmployees table. Remember the where clause, so where our employee ID, I'm going to use an in and just pass in a list of values. So David Bradley, he's our marketing manager, he's got to go. Mary Gibson, she's our marketing specialist, no she isn't, she's got to go. So we're going to run and delete these 2 employees now. So as you can see, the syntax is exactly the same. Delete from table name, where column equals value. In this case we're putting 2 values in there, so I could have had where employee ID equals 16 or employee ID equals 23. So I'm just going to highlight that and run that now, and there we go. Those employees have now been terminated. Obviously I'm going to get somebody else to tell them. I don't want to tell them to their face. Really hope you've enjoyed that video, guys. We're going to be doing some other videos on the differences between delete and truncate in the future. If you are new to my channel, do check out my other videos. We have got a lot of good content on there, and it is being updated on a regular basis. Subscribe to the channel and click that notification button so that you're made aware of when new videos are uploaded. Thanks a lot for watching.